Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys can hear me okay. And we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Just actually a minute. We're going to get started in just a minute. Okay, perfect. Let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Serge Berger here from thestudytrader.com. This is our Set the Market morning call. We're going to spend the next 10 to 15 minutes going through the top few things on my notepad. If you are new here, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. That allows you to be updated in real time when we go live with analysis and ideas. And also, please, as always, make sure that you, volume's low. 1 second. Let me see. Alrighty. Is this any better? How's this? Let me know if this is any better. I think I just turned up the volume, so hopefully this is better. But if you guys can let me know, that would be awesome. Much better? Cool. Yeah, what happens is the cleaning crew tends to mess with my audio board here, so that's what happens. Anyway, as I said before, it's Serge Berger here from thestudytrader.com. Thanks for being here. If you're here for the first time, please make sure you subscribe to the channel so you update in real time when we go live. And also, please give us a thumbs up like on the video. That helps us to be able to continue to do this show. Top few things on my radar this morning. Number one, I just want to continue to put the 2-year bond yields on everyone's radar. In my view, and obviously this can change, but in my view, 2-year yields going lower with equity markets blowing higher is inconsistent. So something is wrong somewhere. Someone's off, not like, position wise, but just something's a bit strange there. Then I want to talk about seasonality, because we are potentially entering a melt-up seasonality period. I'm going to give you guys an update on Coinbase, which we finally closed yesterday for really nice profits, and a couple of individual stocks that we've been mentioning that continue to work really nicely and may actually be on the way of breaking higher. So again, quickly on the bond yield side, just quickly want to point this one out here. This is 2-year bond yields, 2-year note yields, and it's just, to me, it's just odd. And I just had a lengthy breakfast meeting with one of the smartest guys in fixed income that I know. I used to work with him at JP Morgan, and he also doesn't quite. It's really not clear what's behind this move lower in bond yields, because then again, the equity market continues to blow higher. In fact, the S&P 500 futures are now literally pennies away from a fresh all-time high, and the Nasdaq 100, if you look at the futures market, is at an all-time high. So, I don't know if we have to have a bit of a breather here first. That's entirely possible, but seasonality-wise, things are not something I want to disrespect here. So I can give you an idea. My colleague JB, who does tremendous work, he just sent me the following chart this morning when we had our morning call. This is the seasonality for Apple, and I'll tell you, Apple doesn't trade very well. And, all else being equal, has been underperforming. But I'll tell you, the seasonality for the month of July for Apple is unbelievable. That's this green stuff here that you can see annotated. And in fact, if you look at Apple, how it's been trading for the past few weeks, it's gone sideways, just like the seasonality has indicated. And you guys know I'm always very skeptical of seasonality because it's a bull market phenomenon, but we remain in a bull market. So, or at least a market that, for many things, your bull market, not necessarily for just the S&P 500. So, the past few months actually have been sideways for Apple. And again, if the seasonality chart is any help at all, and we will find out, July is, in fact, the rest of the year is incredibly bullish for Apple. But then again, seasonality has not really worked year to date on Apple. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Again, I think a lot of people have not yet understood that we're in a different environment here. But those will be lessons that they'll have to learn over time as well. So that's just quickly on Apple. Thought I would point this out for those people that care. And again, quickly on the equity market. Look, we are at a point now where we just have to respect the fact that the equity market is back to basically all-time highs, as I said. So we talked about this being this consolidation phase up here where the buyers are essentially a bit reluctant to buy, maybe sell, and that has not been the case. We've consolidated up here. Obviously, we've been consolidating since basically, we were higher, but we've largely not done much in terms of equities, S&P centric analysis since basically the 19th of May. So it has worked, but not worked in the sense that equities have gone lower because they haven't gone lower, right? So we have to respect that. Then I want to quickly update you guys on Coinbase. So, and I made a YouTube short on this as well. So if you're not following our YouTube shorts, please go ahead and check those out. You will not be disappointed. You get all that stuff updated in real time. So we finally closed our Coinbase trade. Remember, if you remember, this was based on our TST trend and momentum indicator. So, we received a buy signal back in the 23rd of April, and the stock is up about 76% since then. I took a screenshot of one of my broker accounts, and of course I don't have it here, but it resulted in about $3,000 something for every 5 call spreads that we bought. So, but we're done with this trade for now. And I want to give you this time frame as well so you guys can see this. The reason we want to take profits here, and Coinbase is up another 5% pre-market, by the way. It's not because we necessarily think that the Coinbase has to stop going higher here. In fact, I actually think it could go higher, but maybe not necessarily immediately. But it's based on the fact that we're now back to these December 24 highs. And I would expect us not to blow higher here in a straight line. I would expect this to be something where we would see some consolidation first, but I could be wrong. I thought, why not take some profits after the stock rallied literally 75% from the buy signal. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. But in the big picture, and this might be important, and thank you, Steve, for getting people to like the video. I do appreciate that, folks. If you please give us a thumbs up, like, and please subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, at some point, I hate to tell you, we actually will have to stop doing the YouTube show if the algos don't pick it up, because it takes a lot of work every morning to prepare for this. But here's Coinbase, and basically this is the longer term weekly chart. And I say longer term, the company IPO'd in 2021. So ultimately, I would imagine that the path of least resistance here, and it's probably gonna go bullish trend soon. In a more meaningful fashion would be my guess. But ultimately, we do think that Coinbase could move higher and maybe meaningfully so. I would expect this to, however, occur with Bitcoin making another move. So I'm very bullish Coinbase, particularly if Bitcoin were to make a move to fresh all-time highs. Bitcoin this morning is up about 1% or so, and again, it continues to act well. So risk assets in general, whether you look at the S&P 500, whether you look at Bitcoin, they're acting well. It's just weird to me that 2-year yields are going down. I don't know. Darren brings up a whole point about the SLR reduction. It's possible. I've thought about, again, like I said before, I had a conversation just this morning at breakfast with the smartest fixed income guy I know, and it obviously that came up, but it's not clear, right? So I'm not sure. I just don't know, Darren. It's a good point, but I don't know if that really is the move. It seems odd to me, but anyway, it is what it is, and yeah, don't want to I just want to continue watching it. Here's Bitcoin just quickly. For those of you guys that like to be technical about it, we can now draw this sort of bull flag pattern. It's faked us out a couple times already, Bitcoin, maybe third time's a charm. We'll see. But if this move here lasts, if this flag here, just to give you an idea, right? And this is not meant to be, some sort of, scientific stuff, but at the very least, if this move lasts, then if this is a breakout, then there's basically two targets. One target is around 135, and the other target, if we are a bit more sort of aggressive, would probably be closer to about almost 150. So if this Bitcoin breakout here takes place, and again, if the equity market likes it, risk on, I would imagine Bitcoin breaks out higher as well. But if this works, then the next upside targets for Bitcoin is about 135 and possibly 150. From here, right now, that's about a 25 and 40% move respectively. Okay, just to give you some idea. And if this happens, I would have a very difficult time imagining that Coinbase does not also go higher. But again, we took profits here in the short term because we had a very big move. So and nailed it. So why not take some profits along the way? So just wanted to point that out. Next on our analysis is LNG. We've been talking about LNG. This is Cheniere Energy. Natural gas, once again, the widowmaker, as it's called, handed it to me. I closed my natural gas longs this morning because I was long some futures that are expiring tomorrow. But what's interesting is that the stock, Cheniere Energy, which is squarely in the natural gas space, yesterday had a very big move, up about very big, I should say, 3.25%. And on the market rover, which is our trend following software, remains bullish on the trend side. And then same thing for CEG, which we talked about yesterday to our members, Constellation Energy. This is a very interesting name, very technically sound, and a name that is squarely in this whole energy trade that we like. Last but not least, we cannot leave here without looking at IAI, which is broker dealers. We've talked about them here. In fact, for the past couple of weeks, I'm going to show you JB's chart that he sent me, but the market rover has this in a bullish trend since April, and these stocks are up 20% on the ETF level. I'm going to quickly show you JB's chart. If you give me just 1 second. What he sent me is this here. I think this chart speaks for itself. This is the broker dealers ETF IAI that we think could go higher here, again, based on the price action. So that's what I wanted to show you guys here today. I hope you're finding value here. Again, if you do find value, please give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel. It allows us to be able to continue to do this show in the mornings. And as I said before, obviously, the benefit for you primarily is that you get alerted in real time when we go live with our analysis. So yeah, thumbs up, thanks guys. Appreciate you all firing people on. Also watch the YouTube shorts. We do YouTube shorts every day. It's like updates on things. So you should be able to get a lot of value out of there too. And I'm going to see all of you members over in TradeOps HQ. That's our members area in about 15 minutes. We had a session yesterday with my good friend Josh Martinez. He talked about Fibonacci. We're going to continue today. We're going to talk about momentum. That happens at 2 p.m. Hopefully you've received an email on that. So I look forward to seeing you guys there as well. So long story short, let's just quickly put a bow around it. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 essentially back at all-time highs and breaking above all-time highs for the NASDAQ. Given the seasonality patterns and the relentless bullish spirits, it would not be surprising for this to continue. I will point out that on July 8th, we do have the reciprocal tariffs expiring, but we have G7 meetings taking place today, and I guess a bit more this week. And I would be surprised if there's no meetings and talks around tariffs there. So maybe there could come some agreements there. Just some thought here. And if that comes out positive, then the equity market, which is eternally bullish, will continue to move higher for an extent. But again, we want to be risk managing. This is the year of the traders, so make sure you manage your risk, you trade accordingly, and don't fall in love with stories, but rather fall in love with risk management, making sound risk management decisions. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning.